On this episode of Mad Ginger Customs, we're going to cut the entire trunk out of a 1950 Ford Shoebox, make one by hand using 18 gauge and a bead roller, and then we're going to weld it all back in using our new 6-in-1 ARCCAPTAIN welder. Let's go! I know we've been off the shoebox for a while. We're getting back on the shoebox. We're going to get a lot done on the shoebox because she runs and she moves and she stops now. So I'm going to flip around and I'm going to show you what we're working with. Alright, so we know from the past videos there is a gigantic hole in this area here. I do not need a spare tire in here. I did pop this little cover off, and that is a sending unit, which who knows if that works or not. Probably not. Be 6-volt anyway. So I think what we're going to do, because the sides of this are pretty solid, I think we're just going to cut around here, and we're going to bring it, see this, how this is all, I think we're going to tie it in all right here. We know it's rotted, but did we know it was all banged in? Look at that. That's a freshie. I think that's from when the guy helped me put it on the trailer and he used the Bobcat and gave it the old whack-ow. I think maybe we'll try to hammer that out. I don't know how to do that. All right, so here's what we're looking at. We're gonna pull these bolts. That's undercoating, that is not metal. The metal that the undercoating is protecting is actually really good in there, guys. So we're gonna pull these bolts here, here, and here, and we're gonna get this bumper out of the way, and then we can kind of assess. So, safety glasses that are covered in some type of goo. I don't know. We'll probably stop motion this hog. Guys, I can't even begin to tell you how bad this thing stinks. And it's like full. Listen to it. And it just has mud in it. Cut my hand, that's nice. Oh yeah. This is full of mud. The whole thing's full of mud. Definitely getting tetanus from that one right there. Guess I'm ordering a fuel cell. Whatever. Guys, when you pay for a cutoff wheel, use the whole cutoff wheel. Those aren't cheap. There's a hole, boys. Pretty big hole. So, I know you need to clean up in here, find the good metal, get rid of that because we're not going to use this anymore. I'm going to cut this off. Maybe we can 90 this and put it into our fuel cell if we can ever get a piece of like metal into this area here. The scrap pile is getting larger by the second. It's just like a race car now. Think about all the weight reduction. This thing weighs nothing. I bet she does 8s out of the box. We'll see. Chapter 2 of Dave Doesn't Know What He's Doing. I got some ram board. I bought this a long time ago for some projects. I've seen people use this for templates. Now, the issue with this trunk is, and I'm going to show you, here there's a bow, right? So what I'm hoping to do is get underneath the car with a marker and trace that. And then I'm going to know where to make the line, cut this so the contour is correct. And we might do this 2 different ways. I might take a tipping die, because I bought a tipping die set for my bead roller. I think I said English wheel earlier in the video. Whatever. I don't even know what I'm talking about half the time. Tipping wheel die for my bead roller, which I motorized with a winch from an ATV. If you guys haven't seen that video, you should go back and watch it. And I'm hoping along this contour to rock it up, because I want this to butt this way where there's good metal, because underneath this there's really nothing to weld to. Worst case scenario, what we're going to do is we'll make it flat, and then we'll just put a piece in here and just weld it all in with the new ARCCAPTAIN. Look at that hog. That thing does spot welding. Do you guys know that? I'm going to show you. It's pretty cool. I mean, kind of like this, right? Like this is just falling through because the cardboard is, it's pretty humid and this cardboard's starting to sag in. So it'll be flat. We'll add a little bit on each side. Now guys, obviously when we cut this out of sheet metal, we're going to use a nice straight edge here, a nice straight edge here, a nice straight edge across the back there. And then we'll radius them in and we'll just work them till they look nice, you know. And once that's squared away, we can get the front of this kind of figured out. I think I'm gonna add like a 1/2 inch on the front of this. That way I can rock it up. Alright, so rough shape, right? We're obviously we gotta tune all this, but first we gotta get this piece bent along this edge vertically. Alright, kind of got a cart teetering. My whole shop, like garage is, it's not even a garage, it's a barn. It's kind of all sinking. It's tough to kind of put anything flat. So, alright, we're gonna try this. If we ruin it, I'll have to get more sheet metal. Alright, first pass. Not terrible. Man, this cart is going to take out the camera and my legs. And then you're going to see me doing this stuff from a wheelchair. Alright, now let's try to feed her back in and give her a cranky cranker. A Phil Crankerson. Might want to turn up the speed a little bit on this hog. It might be too much. Just going to try to follow the line we made. I'm not trying to make another line. We're going to be fighting ourselves here. Okay. And it ejected itself. So this is what we're starting out as. Just kind of folding the lip up. I'm hoping this isn't going to dome this. So we'll see. Maybe I'll move you guys over my shoulder. That way you can kind of see what I'm doing. Or my giant bulbous body will be in the way and you guys won't see anything. I don't know. My precariously perched cart. I'm sure Jess is inside reading. We're going to give her a little extra on the little stank on the hang low here. Okay. It's working, but it's slow. I don't know if I'm supposed to crush it more. Well, we'll keep going, guys. I'm going to put you on time lapse. here we go. It actually worked awesome. Look at that. Now granted, I got a pucker here because I thought it was starting to dome and I really like leaned into it with my arm. So little hammer there, dolly the edge. But guys, I'm super happy with that. So this tipping die set, I want to say was 80 bucks. So if you have this unit, now granted guys, this is the cheapo Woodward Fab. This is a Woodward Fab bead roller, and I modified it to use a winch from an ATV. So guys, check out that video. People really seem to like this because you use everything that comes with the winch, the mounts, the brackets. It really isn't that much money to convert. And I'll tell you what, to not have Jess have to crank this thing. Now Jess is obviously prettier than I am, and you guys would rather see her. And some of you guys are searching her on YouTube because she's a search parameter now. I'm gonna dolly this up, and then we're gonna dump this back in the car, see how it fits. All right, I am not mad at that at all. We're gonna have to notch it for here. I don't know if you guys can even see that with the light. Can I get a light in here? I certainly can. So that's where we're at. It's actually decent. You know, it has to be shifted because we're not touching here because we have a little excess material here. So we're gonna knock that down. That should fall in. That should allow this panel to be able to twist and then come forward. We're gonna notch out for the latch. The latch doesn't even work. I'm not even sure I could ever get it to work. And then I believe this should all just fall in. Might have to knock a little off there and just a little here, right? We're gaining on it though. We're getting there. I think this is how we're living. This panel actually fits pretty good. It's going to be supported from the bottom. Now we're going to have some other pieces to fix out in the ends. You know, I'm not going to try to tee this thing off and make one piece. It's going to be impossible. Tune it a little bit more, maybe a little here. But it sits nice. It sits nice and flat. You know, it's obviously not symmetrical to the middle of the car. So I think what we're going to do moving on is just clean it up, make sure, you know, a little bit more fitment. That's boring for you guys. And then we're gonna we're gonna bead roll it, give it some strength, some rigidity, and then we're gonna clean up the outside, start welding. So I don't know if you guys can even see this, but this is the design I came up with. So if you guys wanna do stuff like this, get yourself one of these hole templates, you know, and then you kind of just set it in between your cross marks and you trace it. And we got like a little roundy round to follow. In all actuality, I'm not really sure how this is going to turn out because I've never tried that bead roller doing corners with it. So the car's not perfect, you know, we're just doing the best we can with it. And it's in the trunk, right? So if we screw it up, it's in the trunk. The fuel cell's going to sit on top of it. Who cares, right? So let's go over to do the bead roller and do some bead rolling. All right, so I got this hog cinched down about where it would start, right? And it's pretty tight. So I'm hoping, where's my pedal? Over here. I'm hoping I can just guide this thing through. keeping in mind I'm an absolute novice, right? The only thing you ever seen me bead roll is the first thing I ever bead rolls was the floor pans. And we did that with the cranky crank with Magic Jess. Modified the bead roller with a motor, and this is what I did. Now, go easy. I know you guys will be screaming at your computers, phones, TVs. You're a hack, I can do it way better than you. Sure, go do that. Make a video, show everyone you can, because that's what we like to see. I love when people succeed. So, this is what I came up with. Right? Not so bad. Now, you know, that corner and that corner are much better than that corner. It kind of stopped a little bit. Same with this one. Little jag here. But overall, I like it. It oil cans a little bit, you know, but once it's blasted in, it's not going to do that. So I think that's a win. So the bead roller, which was almost untested, we only ran a couple passes in the video, and I've never touched it since. That thing works great. So watch that video, learn yourself how to make that thing, because it's awesome and it's cheap. And we're gonna do the old Scotch-Brite Deluxe with the old flap wheel attack. Clean it all up. We're gonna cut this out. We're gonna do a little rounding here, pin it down, and do the tacky dance all the way around. And she's almost done, boys. All right, cleaned up the inside of this. Just made a line, right? Cut the line. That way when this sits in, it should be right on that gap. It might support it a little bit, not a whole lot. So, since I'm not real good about getting back to things once I start them, I actually put some new metal primer on that. So, we're gonna dump this thing in, and then we're giving this hog a run. ARCCAPTAIN 6-in-1 MiG 200. ARCCAPTAIN reached out to me, and I mean, not, you know, talking smack about, you know, oh, I got a big YouTube channel. Not the case. But when you have a YouTube channel, people want to partner with you and they want to send you things. And I have a tendency to ignore the majority of that. I've done a couple things with a couple companies where I used a piece of equipment and I liked it, so I did a review on it. And they said 6-in-1. And I'm like, 6-in-1? Like MIG, flux, yeah, I get that. Oh, it runs a spool gun? Well, that's cool. It does TIG welding. I'm like, wow, it TIGs too? Okay. It does arc welding. Yeah, I get that. And I'm like, 6? Is it like a microwave? Does it cook hot dogs or something? And they're like, does spot welding too. I'm like, huh. So it's kind of like a timed function where you just pull the trigger and hold it down and bzzzt, stop. And you just pull it again, you pull it again, you pull it again. I think that's going to be cool for this trunk. So I said, hell yeah. Send me your 6-in-1. And I'll see how it does, and if I like it, I'm going to tell the people I like it. But paint's drying. Once it is, we're going to flop this thing back in. We're going to fire up the ARCCAPTAIN 6-in-1, and we'll give her a go. And you know, I guess we'll weld with it and see how it goes. All right, guys, we got this piece back in here. Trying out this new ARCCAPTAIN hood. This has the true color lens, where my old Miller was all green. I don't know. It seems pretty good. I did a couple tests to kind of figure out how this machine works. So let me get you in here, because this is actually kind of cool, right? Fans on, because I was giving it a little. So on this unit, you can choose MIG. You can go through. You can choose, well, I should probably get this stinger off of there. You can choose arc, right? You can choose TIG, and you can choose, this means MIG with a spool gun, right? So what we're gonna do is, we're gonna take advantage of the option this has as a tack welder, right? Now, if you're an experienced welder, and you like to control your pull, I get it. But if you're a newer welder, and you're starting to do, you know, your own body panels and stuff, and you're like, yeah, I'm not so confident with that. This has an option for you, right? So you get yourself back on your MIG mode, And then this button here, this is pretty easy to use. This button here will give you 2T, 4T, or tack capability. 2T is when you pull the trigger and you hold it down, it's going to continue to weld until you let it go. 4T, you pull the trigger once, it starts to go, and you pull it again to shut it off. Now, the ... on this thing is the tack mode. You pull the trigger once, and then you adjust your tack length and voltage. That's cool, right? So you go to the dots down here, and it's going to tell you, I got it at about 66 amps. That's 18 volts, but watch this. See this right here? That number going up and down gives you tack duration, right? So we'll just bury it because we got some really old metal here, and we're going to try to burn through some of that rot. So I'm going to set you guys up on a time lapse, and we're just going to tack this thing around. Another thing that's convenient that I found, not to do with this welder, but can use any welder, magnetic grounding magnets. Wait, did I just say that? Magnetic ground clamps, right? So this is it's like a cheapie from Amazon, and basically what you can do is you can take the strap off of this and you can attach it directly to here. Or what I did was I cleaned off the powder coat on each end, and then you can put your strap right to it. That way, in case you have an absolute rot box like I have, it's hard to find a ground. This, perfect ground every time. So we'll set you guys up. I don't know if I'm doing the inside of the car or the outside of the car, and we're just gonna tack around and kind of keep moving, and you know, we'll see how we do with this new ARC Captain. I mean, I like it so far. It's a lot easier to use. I have a Yes Welder MiG 250, and I gotta be honest with you, the display is kind of confusing, where this is very easily laid out. You know, you can set material, you know, what material you're using, flux core, are you using aluminum, you know, are you using, it's mixed. And then you can adjust, oops, you can adjust your wire diameter, right? So we're using 030, so that's 0.8. I mean, turn it up and down. It's got synergetic mode. You can turn it off, you can turn it on. So if you turn this off, you can adjust everything manually, voltage, wire speed. But if you turn it on, the welder gives you a little bit of help, right? It says, hey, if you're using this voltage / amperage, you should be about this speed wire with this size wire. So if you're new, it's cool, right? So we're gonna see how she does. I'll start in the corner and I'll kind of work my way. You know, you kind of crisscross pattern. Don't just blast a bead, guys. You're gonna warp the shit. You're gonna warp the hell out of what you're working on. So you wanna tack and move and tack and move. That way you're not adding too much heat to your piece. And I believe that this tack function that I'm gonna use with the ... is maybe gonna save us a little bit of heat input. We'll see. Sometimes I get a little overzealous with the MiG. So here we go. Guys, I'm thoroughly impressed with this thing. This thing welds delicately enough that you could fill a hole, even in like rotted sheet metal. And since you can turn the inductance down, with that button, you can run beads with this thing. This thing runs beads in sheet metal, like rotted sheet metal. I gotta be honest with you. This is awesome. I mean, short of the car's on fire. See that? The car's definitely on fire. Let's take a look. Oh, I don't see any fire. I guess it's not on fire. She's smoking pretty good. I might need to get the fire extinguisher. Wow, this thing's good. I wish I had gotten this sooner. Struggling with that Lincoln, man. I love this. Got a big gap here. Gonna have to get underneath it and tap it up. But, I mean, let me see if I can get a close-up on this thing. I mean, that's a solid weld. Oh man, I struggled with that Lincoln for so long, and I know you guys were like, oh, you need a new liner. That welder has a new liner in it. It's a brand new hose assembly, new gun. I think the inductance adjustment on this thing makes it meant for sheet metal. I'm really thinking about blasting something super heavy with it and then turn it all the way to soft so it gets a big fat wet puddle to try it. But anyway, I'm gonna keep welding, and we're almost done with the trunk, I guess. All right, boys and girls, here's the end result. That thing drops awesome beads, even in old rotted sheet metal. I gotta be honest, I didn't expect it to be that good because it's this inexpensive. So, wrapping this up, trunk is in. Boom. Now, is it a factory trunk? No. Is it super cheap because it's a piece of 18 gauge that we just blasted on the bead roller like you guys saw? Absolutely. Because it's not a show car and it's not a restoration. Please, in the comments, I know you guys hate the fact this car is not being restored. I get it. It's not worth any money. We're just putting it back on the road. We're just trying to save another one, right? So, moving on to the future, I have, hold on, I'll throw it in. Boom! Hollywood magic. I bought a fuel cell because the tank is way too far gone. You guys saw that. So we're definitely going to build a mount for that. I got some dimple dies, probably try that. That's cool. And electric fuel pump. I know the flathead guys don't like that, but too bad it's not your car, and I don't honestly care. So wrapping this up, I gotta thank ARCCAPTAIN. Look at this thing, and this is awesome. You know why? If you do YouTube and you got your welding fan screaming in the back, this thing is thermally actuated, so the fan goes off when it's not hot. This thing is currently on and ready to work, and it's nice and quiet, right? I'm under no obligation to tell you anything about this welder. They said, hey, you want to try out this welder? And I said, yeah. They said, you don't have to sell it. Just let the welder do the talking if you like it. And I'm like, all right, that sounds good. Guys, I actually really like this thing. It's really good for sheet metal. I want to try it on everything else. They sent me a TIG torch. They sent me a spool gun. So I think I'm gonna do a review. I'm gonna do a full review on it. I like it that much. I owe it to you guys because this thing is like sub 500 bucks. Sub $500. 6 functions, MIG and TIG. I mean, how do you go wrong? If you're a garage guy, you can only afford one welder. I mean, honestly, this thing's good. You know, the welding helmet, let's talk about that thing. This welding helmet, right? It works good. It's got true color. Oh, yeah, you guys can't see through that. It's true color, so it doesn't, you know, my old Miller is like green, and when you look through it, this thing's like clear, nice, you know, you can see the colors, and it's brighter, right? It does have the controls on the side, so obviously Don't be like me, where you get angry and you fire your welding hood across the garage, because you will definitely break it. But moving forward, we got a bunch of sheet metal on the outside of the car to fix. We got some dents to pull out. We got a bunch of dents. So I'm gonna either try to hammer them out, or I'm gonna try to get one of them like electronic welding dent puller things. I saw those things. Those things look cool as hell. If you guys have one of those dent pullers, hit me in the comments, because I want to know if that thing works or not. They make them, you know, anywhere from, I guess, like $300 to like thousands of dollars. I don't want to spend that much. But guys, just remember, I'm a regular guy working in his garage, and please subscribe, hit the bell. You'll know when we make content. We're going to do the ice cream truck. We're going to continue to work on this shoebox until she's on the road. And if I can do it, you can do it. Thanks for watching.